Hello, you've reached the house of unrecognized talent.
Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a really fun video.
Sure, Jan.
We're going to be making another Barbie makeover series video.
Hey!
Today's inspiration through Barbie's history is going to be Barbie and the Rockers. Think that one right behind me. It's going to be a lot of fun and I'm super excited to show you all this new project. And I'm also super excited to create this video because this is a series that I wanted to keep going and going and going, but for a while I just stopped because it took me a long time to source out the perfect materials that I really wanted for this project. That and the fact they take a while, and there was a lot of stuff that happened, you know, between the last one to this one, where I just have been trying to keep up with all of my restorations. And homegirl works 4 jobs.
She's a woman.
So these take a long time, but I'm so happy to do them. I love making custom Barbies. I'm really excited to dive more into that and create more pieces like this. So if you do like this video, let me know down below. I'm so excited, like I said, to do another Barbie makeover series. Now this one's going to be a little bit different. I just wanted to make the most outrageous and out there and fabulous thing that I could possibly make. So that's what we did today. So homegirl went in with no budget. And when I did a poll on my channel through my posts, the Barbie Makeover series won by far, and by far I mean by 2 points. The other restoration series, that actually was just 2 points below the Barbie Makeover series.
She's educated.
So as I told you all before in a video, I'm going to be making 2 videos.
No.
In this video, we're going to dive into Barbie and the Rockers. So you'll get a little taste of Barbie and the Rockers history in this video. But in the next one, you'll be getting a full Barbie and the Rockers history, full Barbie and the Rockers restoration, Barbie and the Rockers fashion review, and Barbie and the Rockers doll review. So that's going to be another exciting video. So I do hope that you stay tuned for that. And without further much ado, let's get into today's video. This happens to be one of the saddest moments for me. This is one of my favorite stores. I love coming in here to get all of my supplies that I need. And it's so sad, and I feel personally attacked by this year. Look how stressed my is. What you gonna do with all that proof? All that proof? Yeah. Thank you. I mean, if you like good deals, this is one thing, but it's just so sad to think that my one happy place, one of them, is just gonna be no more. Boo, you whore. So I've been designing this doll for quite some time, probably over, I want to say 9 months at least. But this was the original look that I designed for her. She looks very outer space in that one. And there's the one for Superstar. So this is the initial design for Superstar. This goes to show you how long I've been wanting to do Barbie and the Rockers. And here we go again, right down there. You can see another Barbie and the Rockers idea I was fleshing out. And I think it was this one I settled on because I thought she looked really cool in my little drawing. And then it fledged on to looking like something like this. I guess I was planning on doing a mini top and such, but you can see half perm and then half knot had always been a thing, which is good. And so is the armbands. And then we go to the final design. When you first start to create a doll, the most important part obviously is to get your ideas on paper or on digital, whatever you use. This is going to be the look that I'm gonna go for, and it's honestly gonna be a mashup between the first version and the second version of Barbie and the Rockers. And when it comes down to designing something from a particular era, even if it is supposed to be inspired from, you have to have knowledge of what pop stars were wearing in that era. When I came up with this, I was looking at pictures of Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, just people like that from that era who kind of, in my opinion, inspired Barbie and the Rockers to begin with. But let's not really forget the true inspiration for Barbie and the Rockers. The real story of Barbie and the Rockers has to deal with company spies, talented designers, and a really quick deadline. One of Barbie's earliest careers was a singer, and it was about time for her to come out of retirement, especially after catching wind that Hasbro, Mattel's competitor, was making a fashion doll that was a singer. But not just any singer, a rock star. Doll production can usually take up to 9 months to a year. These dolls and their fashions were designed and produced and on toy shelves within 5 to 7 months. And we will truly never know how much witchcraft Mattel used to get ahead of Hasbro. It must have been the power of knowledge, experience, and already having an audience. But even though they had very little time to create these little masterpieces, the girls went off, and she still remains one of the top-selling Barbies known to date. And maybe I'm the only one in the room with this opinion, but I find it ironic how Barbie beat Jem to the toy shelves in 1985, but in 2025, Jem beat Barbie to the shelves, and Mattel will offer some reproductions later in the year. But they made us vote out of the band members of who we want reproductions of. And this is a hot take, but why not just reproduce all of them? Like, in my opinion, it's going to be a pretty useless set if you don't reproduce all of them. Like, honestly, if they're afraid of the price going up, they've charged us for less. Let's be real. That new Jem doll that's out has a hell of a lot of quality for $25, and she's heavy like a rock. And I know pretty much at this point Mattel's going to half-ass do these reproduction sets anyway and still charge us an arm and a leg. I just want to see the whole set. Sorry, I get really passionate about Barbie and the Rockers, which is why she was on the top of the list whenever it came to the Barbie Makeover series. But also something that I have going around me are the fashions from Barbie and the Rockers. And they are just here to give me some inspiration, to give me some sort of knowledge as to how even I could construct such an outfit like this right here. Now, usually with my designs, I add in far too many details, and I do that on purpose because I know that this probably, like, all together is not going to blend well in a 1/6 scale, which is what Barbie is. But this gives me an option whether to keep this detail or keep that detail and stuff. It's just like I'm giving myself too many details so that way I can see all of my options on the table. And another thing to remember is that when you are making something, go ahead and just have your mind open to the possibility of even something a little bit different. Like, I might change this up here. I might change the look of the dress. I might change the ruffles at the bottom. I might give her socks to go with the stockings. Like, there are so many different things that I could do that could make it into the end product. And again, like, this is, I'm not sure because I've never designed for a company like Mattel. But that's just how I work generally, is I will do whatever I think is best for the product in mind. So if there is something that I don't like out of this picture, I'm going to change it.
I am a woman of my own destiny.
Another thing too to keep in mind is your source material. Like over here, we have the first version of Barbie and the Rockers, and she's just kind of hanging out here and just kind of giving me an idea of like what I'm looking for. Now, when the first version, the first edition dolls came out, they were very rushed. They were made in like, I think 5 months and put on the shelves immediately. So I tend to kind of think that I want to base my look personally off of the second version. I think she's just as iconic. And this is them kind of like having more time to design a Barbie and the Rockers doll. I really do like this doll a lot. When I was a child, this was the Barbie and the Rockers doll that I wanted the first, and that's what I did. I got her when I was a kid. I did kind of choose her before her, but ultimately now, like as I'm an adult, I have more fond feelings for this one because I like the standard body and not really the the dancing body. But if you check out her outfit, it's got little stars everywhere. It's got the big Rockers logo on it. It's just really crazy, and I just love it. I love the collar. I love everything about it. I love the little tassels that hang down. Like, it's honestly a really genius design. And so is hers for the time that they had to design these dolls. Like, it's honestly incredible that they were able to design a whole line of cohesive looking dolls. Like, look at this Barbie next to Dee Dee. Look at her. She's got a little beauty mark too. Isn't that something? She kind of reminds you of Madonna, doesn't she?
I get a lot of that.
Ultimately, this whole line was made with love for their product and for the consumers purchasing the product, and as well as some good stiff competition. And that is going to be exactly what I hope I'm able to put into my project. The body type that I will be using is a Model Muse body, and I will be using the Odile head mold. This is from the Mermaid, obviously. I've used this before, like 2 times already, and I think it's time to use it again, and I'm really excited. This happens to be one of my favorite Barbie molds to use, so I'm just ready to get this project started. What's also so important for me is to choose the right fabrics. Now, I'm using a gaggle of pinks, as you can see. I don't think I'm leaving any pink out of my collection of fabrics, but I have an idea. So this is going to be your struggle, especially now that Joann Fabrics is closing.
She's dead.
And it's really sad for me to acknowledge, because that is my favorite place to go to whenever I need inspiration for a new project, especially with fashion. But if we look at this fabric right here, I purchased this online, and this is one of the trials and errors of shopping online. This was sold to me as nylon tricot, but it is not. It is organza. This right here is nylon tricot. It's a very lightweight fabric, and it is exactly what Mattel used at that time for their sheer materials. And it's what Mattel's been using for their sheer materials for quite some time, and that is because it does not fray like the organza fabric does. They can leave it unhemmed. They don't have to treat it necessarily, but this they would have to treat and burn the edges off of it if they would like to use it. So this is what I thought I was getting. This is what I got. However, I'm still going to try to use it. My idea is this. I want to have this on the bottom. I want to put this on top of that, and then put this on top of that. And because they are so sheer, it's going to create this beautifully rich pink color, as well as give it a layered effect. And also, in case it's not, solid enough, I do have a nice satin material right here that I will use for the base of the dress itself. For the tights, I've decided that I'd like them to be a little bit textured. So I bought this nylon net, and I love the little dots on it. It reminds me of the 80s in some way, shape, or form. So I'm actually going to dye this pink if I can, and if it looks nice, of course, and that will create her pretty little tights. With all of the fabrics considered, in my opinion, this look is going to be very simple, very basic. So I'm going to have to work in overdrive to try to make sure that everything turns out and looks perfect.
Shall we begin?
So I've got all of the fabric pieces that I think I'm going to need cut out. I've got the model ready, and look at these shoes that I found. Like, they are Model Muse type shoes, but they are in the shapes of 90s Barbie shoes, at least that 90s look type of shoe, which actually was debuted in 1986 with the Barbie and the Rockers. These nice little fat wedge toe shoes. I have a lot of things I'll cut out. It looks like a whole big massive mess, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew all of these 3 layers together. I'm going to iron and press them, and then I'm going to sew it onto the satin fabric below.
Oh, that's marvelous.
So we have run into our first problem. So I am trying to make the little sleeves with the organza and the glittered nylon tulle underneath. However, when I am trying to put it on her, I don't know if you can see that really well, but it is separating right here at the seam, and that is just because of how organza is. It's not meant to be stretched. It's not meant to be distressed in any way. It will just fall completely apart, which is why originally I wanted a nylon tricot, because it can be kind of like utilized in this way. So this is not going to work for the arm sleeves, so we will have to make some sort of compromise and use nylon tricot mixed with the glittery nylon tulle. Okay, so here we have the updated sleeve. I did nylon tricot underneath and then the glittered nylon tulle on top, and I wanted it to be a fingerless glove kind of a look. And then I want to put like globs of bracelets and some sashes and other types of things just to give it that wild, outrageous look. Again, ideally I would have loved to have had this fabric on top of this, but with the way that the fabric is composed, there's just no way that I would be able to do that unless I were to sew it on directly to the arm itself. And back in my sweatshop, I'm sewing this little rectangle. This little rectangle is going through all the abuse because it knows what it did. It might pass itself off as being nylon tricot, but it certainly doesn't perform like it. But it sure didn't stop me from trying to make it look expensive, because it's one thing to be tacky and cheap, and it's a whole other thing to be tacky and expensive. So I'm gonna do my best to make sure that it looks fabulously tacky. And I don't know another way to make something tacky other than putting pins into it.
That makes sense to me.
After putting a million pins into it, I decided to wrap it around the Barbie. And just like a crumpled up piece of toilet paper, it looks great. In fact, I think I'm so proud of my work, I better start sewing it. And you might be wondering why. Because I said so. After I started sewing, I realized that I was not getting paid for this. And after having 2 McDonald's apple pies later, I think I'm ready to finish this dress up. And after clearly sewing it blindfolded, I think it's ready to be tried on to the doll. And maybe Barbie's always wanted the stomach of the hungry caterpillar from outer space. I don't know about you, but I've seen more form-fitting outfits bought at Justice and Claire's. I'm not sure if you know this, but Freaky and Fast is my middle name. One day you're modeling dresses, and the next day you're making little ones for Barbies. Oh my gosh, and now her dress is done.
She looked like a little control doll.
But there will be more, and this is like kind of the style I'm going for. I want to have like sashes and ribbons and bows and trims everywhere. I want this to be loud and so 80s. Like in this time period, like 1986, the fashion was so loud for these pop stars. And I want to put some embellishments on the garment itself, so that way you could see her from the stage, you could see her from way back in the audience and such. We're not quite done, but at least we have the structure done, and that is a big relief for me. So because I designed this to have a layered skirt because I wanted nylon tricot, and I thought that's what I purchased, but I didn't.
I mean, there must be a support group for people like me.
We're gonna have to be a little bit more creative with this fabric that we have chosen. So this is an organza fabric. It does fray with every single touch you give it. So to stop it from doing that, like for instance, we could go up here, like see like how it's beginning up there and stuff. And to stop all of that, what we're going to do is actually going to add some fray check to the edges of the fabric. I recommend doing this while watching a nice little video of some sort. I'm going to be watching one here in a bit. And yeah, just go around the corners. Now I would say that you could pick this up at Joann Fabrics, but the current state of that place is very unfortunate and sad. So you might still be able to find some there, you might not. Maybe Walmart might have it. We're going back into the saga of I hate it whenever sellers misrepresent fabric. So this is very cheap organza. It even like smells like oil still, even after washing it. I put on the fray check on the edges, but as you can see, it just did not cohere to the fabric whatsoever. It's like milky white, and this never happens. So unfortunately, I won't be able to do this idea with this fabric, but there still is another way I still could incorporate the triangles if I wanted to, or I could just make a stationary ruffle with a large bit of the fabric. I do want to incorporate the fabric into the ruffle somehow, some way. I will try to find a way to do it. But this right here, big fail with this type of fabric. So as I'm making this, like, it's finally coming together and I think it looks pretty nice. However, I added like, and I've not sewn like any of this up yet, but this part of it, I think I'm going to do without the little fringe right over here of all the pink sparkles. Like, for me personally, like, I thought that it would lay differently than what it is actually doing on this fabric right now. But it does give me a good idea for what I am going to do next. But this looks like very Fairytopia to me, and it's totally all right if you're into Fairytopia.
What?
Fairytopia was not of that era, so we're just gonna probably remove these little single strips of nylon tulle, and we'll work with the ruffles that we're going to make. Now, I'm having to make a lot of sacrifices to my design just based on this fabric composition. It's not the best fabric in the whole wide world, but I think that I'm going to be able to make it look very expensive and very beautiful, even still.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
You're a dreamer. You dream a lot in your sleep.
No, not really. I know.
Yes, you do.
No, I
yes,
don't.
you do.
I redid a couple things about the dress. I added on this sparkly trim and I redid the collar. Now, I don't know why I'm always afraid to look into my fabrics and see if I could add any trim and stuff, especially like in these more like creatively fun ideas that I have. I just don't know why, because I would have added that on first thing had I seen it, but I didn't until just now, and I was like, oh my god, that would be perfect because it's really pretty, as you can see. But yeah, so I had an idea and I was like, why not? Because I was just going to make this like a fully sewn dress, like nothing would be removable, but like, where's the fun in that? And Barbie at this time was all about like changing up an outfit, throwing something else together and such. Now granted, this version that I'm like taking the Barbie and the Rockers from is not like that. She was dancing, but she can't dance.
I won't dance, don't ask me.
So what she could do is have fashion that goes around her. So I was thinking, why not make it to where like you could add a ruffle on the bottom, or you could change it and add the ruffle to the top, or however else you would want to, you know, just kind of like interchange it and make it fun, just like Barbie used to be back in the day. So I just wanted to like show like what I'm talking about in case you can't see it because you all aren't mind readers.
Gather round, my pretties, and we'll peer into the crystal ball.
Basically, you have a dress and then you have a ruffle that can like be used at the bottom. You could swirl it to make it a boa if you wanted to. You could even, I'm gonna have it to where like you could change it to where the ruffles can go like this and create like a layered look as well. I just want to have like a lot of fun because I'm like, oh my god, if she were like actually on stage, then she could have like a really quick change type of moment and entertain the masses with all of her songs. Like, that's what I'm thinking. If this were to be made by Mattel, like, it's already too detailed for them, for the era that they're going for at this moment.
Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god, what is that?
Girl, the shade of it all.
Originally, whenever I started this Barbie series, I wanted to make something that could be affordable to purchase like on barbiecollector.com or whatever they're calling it nowadays. But now I just kind of like given up and I'm like, I'm gonna make the most campiest, most Barbie thing that I can think of. And I love Barbie and the Rockers and I love 80s pop. And that's just going to be the whole inspiration for this entire look.
Are you sure?
So I've got all of this white lace and I've got like a bunch of these tassels that I want to use. I don't know if I'm actually going to use them, but I still would like to. And they're pink, but they're not the right color pink. And I've also got this that I'd like to make into the stockings. Again, it's not pink. and I need this to be pink, so I'm going to dye it. And these are the dyes that I'm going to use, and yeah, I really hope that they come out the way that I'd like them.
I don't care.
So after boiling some water like a wicked old witch, I'm gonna start to make my potion. After stirring the water up, you're gonna want to add some soap. And after making your water clean, you need to make it dirty. And wow, look, dirty water looks exactly like pink. I must be a really good witch. Or I must follow directions really well. But who are we kidding?
I'm a witch.
Now I have the fabric laying out and drying, and the color payoff is perfect. Like, honestly, couldn't have asked for a better color match to what I was looking for in my noggin. If companies won't make you the fabric color that you want or the fabric look you're going for, why not try to make it yourself? I did actually buy this fabric dye from Joann Fabrics, RIP. So this whole outfit will have a little bit of Joann Fabrics still in it. I'm still going to try until they close to go get more fabrics and stuff for future projects, so that way I can live in the memory of having a store like that. But honestly, with that store closing, I doubt there's going to be another store like it in the future.
Oh, that's terrible.
Thank you.
That being said, at least we can make our projects look about as fabulous as they possibly can be in memory of such a fabulous store. Because they don't exactly make the nylon tricot that I'm looking for, which is like all sparkly and like different, you know what I mean? No. I'm gonna have to make it myself. So I went and I got some Elmer's Craft Bond spray adhesive. Not sponsored.
Wah, wah, wah.
And I'm going to spray a little bit on top. Okay. I've got two different types of glitter. I've got like this small fine glitter, and then I've got this larger glitter, which I really like. I wish I could find this glitter in like this size, but I just wasn't able to. My Walmart didn't carry it.
It doesn't seem to have changed since the day I got here.
I'm going to do a little light layer of glitter of each kind on top. So it says to leave it there for an hour, so I'm just going to go ahead and just leave it there for an hour, and then we'll come back in an hour and see how it all looks.
1 hour later.
So an hour has passed, and you can kind of see like what kind of effect it leaves. Like, this is super pretty in person, but one thing I will say, it's still pretty tacky. So hopefully this will dry quite a bit. If not, I might just take a paper towel and just like dab on top of it to get off the excess glue, but I think it looks pretty nice.
She's obsessed with it.
So this is actually how I glue on like my jewelry pieces, because if you use actual super glue, it makes everything look all filmy, and we don't like that in this household. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use this liquid stitch. Now this is good if you're doing something that does not need to be very durable. If you are trying to go for like durability, don't do it with this glue. Try to find a different glue. But I've tried like jewelry specific glue and it just doesn't really work for me. But again, work with whatever you want to. This is going to be her belt. I designed a belt in the original design. And again, I like to think of it like this belt would be perfect, like if you were a kid and you had a small wrist, because it does actually fit around your wrist. So it could be like a bracelet. So that's what I like to think about. So I'm going to take out some of these pink ones. I'm right there. If I can, I might have picked out a little bit too big of ones. There we go. But yeah, basically just put them down wherever you put the glue. Let it sit for an hour and it'll be good. But also let it sit a little bit longer before you actually start to use it on your dolls. Now this is good for like just custom dolls, like if you're making custom dolls. But if you're trying to like, say for instance, like make actual like wearable jewelry, or make something that maybe you want to like put on a kid's toy or whatnot, don't use this. Don't be stupid. You know I love you. I like it because the glue doesn't leave the metal filmy, and it will look very nice, and it dries all clear in the end. And now she'll have a very sparkly and beautiful belt. Sorry about the horrible lighting, but this is like what we've got to work with here. It's kind of storming, so if you hear that I'm in the pits of hell in the background, it's because I am
a witch
in Florida, and that's what happens. So as we can see, the little outfit, it's coming together. It's gaudy, it's trashy, it's so look at me, you know what I mean? And we're not even done yet. There's going to be more that I put on here. But here I've made the belt, which you can see right there, which is removable. This is also removable, as I said before. And the reason I'm showing this is because of the tassels right here, how I made these tassels. The reason I put tassels on her is to resemble the second version of Barbie and the Rockers, where they were dancing and she had all the tassels and stuff. And I really quite enjoy that look. I think it looks really wild. So I've got some tassels here and there, and they're just going to be like all varied lengths and stuff. Like I want her to look like she's ready for the stage. I also made her stockings, and her stockings look perfect. And we're going to get to coloring the shoes in a bit. They're going to be a different color of pink. I'm thinking of like an electric hot pink with a metallic finish, which kind of copies Jim too, if you think about it. So it's like it's full circle.
Nerd alert!
So it is like 11:30 at night. I have bejeweled the hell out of this, or well, I guess I could have done it worse. I could have added more, but I decided just to add just as many as I possibly thought it might need. I did remove the bow on the back. It did kind of take away from the look in general. I did keep it though. I don't know who's gonna have it, but maybe somebody might have it in like a Barbie accessories. I don't know. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. So I did the skirt right here, the little skirt and the boa. I'm so excited that like this doll has multiple looks in one. It's kind of resembling like the 80s Barbies in general, which I really like. And I also like how each little piece has different details. Like for instance, this belt right there you could use as a bracelet yourself. And it's got the same tassels and it's got the little stars. And this could be used as a boa and a skirt two ways. It's just, I don't know, it's just really, it's really fun to create things. And I'm so happy that I got the opportunity, the time off to be able to do this, because this has been a project I've been wanting to do for months. But I think that I have come to a point like where I need to push this aside because it's basically done. However, the doll herself still looks like the mermaid. So it's time to get this beautiful face off. So I've got a little pot of acetone right here, and I've done this several times.
This ain't my first time at the rodeo.
So I already know that this face is going to be quite a bitch to remove. I should really slop some of this crap onto my nails because look at that manicure. Yeesh! But anyway, the doll must come first. The doll must come first.
I beg your pardon, are you ill?
So it's been overnight and the Mr. Super Clear is now fully dried on and matte. I went to Michael's and I got a brand new set of watercolor pencils from the Artist Loft, and we'll see how good their quality is. I've got some dolls that kind of inspire me. I've got top model Barbie right here. I love her face. And I've also got, of course, the original second version of the Rockers Barbie. Now this one is the Philippines version. They do vary from country make and from batch, but this one is pretty true to what I'm looking for, and she looks really pretty. So I'm going to try my darndest best to do a really good job. I always get like kind of nervous whenever I start to do these because I'm like, oh my God, you know, what if it doesn't look as great as the last one? But I'm going to make sure that we make it nice and special because this project so far is turning out to look really good.
Just because we're pretty, everybody's jealous.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to outline the eye shape. That's like the first thing I always do. I'm going to use a dark purple for that. And I'm just going to frame out the eyes. And I know what you're thinking. Why do we frame out the eyes? Why do we call it a frame? Are the eyes the windows into our soul? I really don't know. So I asked my mom, and she told me to shut up and to leave her alone. Some of life's mysteries are just meant to be unanswered. Okay, and now I'm going to go in and just like map out where I want her eyebrows to be. And I know what you're thinking. Why map something out if you never intend on ever going there? And I can't decide if I want to go for like more of a sleigh type of look, or I want to go for like the more Barbie and the Rockers look with like a sweeter face. But I'm thinking a more sleigh look so that she goes along with the collection better.
We're gonna make glamour happen, or I'm going home.
Now when it comes to this doll's makeup, I'm gonna go for very drag look.
Stand up like a man and look me in the eye.
Okay, so there we go. We've got like our first layer on. Now, you're not going to get like a whole lot of detail whenever it comes to doing this with like your watercolored pencils. You kind of just want to go for a map, you know, like you're mapping out what you want to do right now. This is not going to be like your final thing, but this is basically just you mapping it all out so that whenever you paint, you're not like totally blind going in the dark. She has a bunch of layered makeup, so like different layers of colors. And I think like on the inner corner, I'd like a little bit of pink. Just enough to create the illusion of pink eye. Now that's glamour. And this is all like going up to the brow, and that's why I'm saying like she's a very like drag queen makeup scheme. I want her to be the kind of pop star to confuse a man, not just turn him on. I want her to be so slay that she even turns me on. No, not really. But I would like to feel happy when looking at her. And the next color I'm thinking of doing would be a nice blue, perhaps. I want her to look like she went to the MAC counter at the mall and they said, which eyeshadow palette would you like? And she would respond with a simple yes. And I could go with the light blue. Just go in and blend. So we're not going to go with so much blue that she looks like she just got off a date with Chris Brown. But I wanted to add this color of blue because it reminds me of the original blue eyeshadow that Barbies used to have. So now I'm going to go for her eyes. On the actual doll, she's got, you know, a forward straight glance. And I'm thinking, because this is supposed to be like not exactly a replica of the past, this is supposed to bring her more current. And I do love a side eye. I think it looks really nice on dolls. A side eye on a doll makes her look a little bit mysterious. What is she looking at? And will we ever find out? She's gonna need some eyeshadow for the bottom. Remember how I said I didn't want her to look like she had a black eye? Well, here we are. I want to do like a dark pink lip. And I'm not lost on the fact that I picked up a light hot pink, but I am just mapping it out after all. I'm very curious to know what the most difficult thing is that you've painted on one of your dolls. Let me know how that went down in the comments below. Oh yeah, she's looking pretty slay. This one might be one of my favorites.
Scandalous!
Now I think that it's time that we actually start painting this doll. So I'm gonna mix some colors together to go for like the proper blue. I want like an ice blue base for this eye. Okay, so before you paint, make sure you dilute. Get some water mixed in with the paint. And because it's already colored from colored pencil, like ideally you won't have to add that much in there. There we go. It would also help, like if you were painting eyes, know where your focal point is. With already paint on my brush, I'm going to go in. That's just to blend it in a bit. There we go. I've left this in here just so that you can see how I work, how I paint, and how I maneuver the head while painting it. I've been doing this for many years. I wouldn't call myself the best at it, and definitely not the worst. And with every Barbie makeover series, I seem to be getting even better. So I'm definitely going to continue this series, especially just to give myself some practice. And it's always fun to see what you can create, which is why I'd like to inspire you to create your own creations. It's really a lot of fun, and it brings life back into whatever you could be creating. And you may not be the best at it, and that's okay. But as long as you're having fun creating something and just enjoying yourself, I don't see the harm in that. And it might seem disingenuous coming from me as I'm an artist, but I wasn't always good. It took a lot of practice to get to this point, and I've still got a lot more work to do. So if you get anything out of this video, I hope you're entertained as well as inspired to create your own creations. And I'll be honest, this is a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun work. And it's so rewarding to see all of your hard work finally pay off. And if you're curious to know what kind of paint I'm using or chalk pastels for blush, I've got tutorials on my doll tutorials and restoration playlist. If you go on that playlist, you will find the tutorial that you probably are looking for, and maybe even then some. No restoration tip or hack is a secret on this channel, and I do believe that everyone has the capability of making something fabulous. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that playlist, which I will put in the description down below. I love using nail polish to paint shoes. It leaves them looking so shiny, and the paint doesn't really come off as easy as regular acrylic paint, which is great for me, but you always want to try to use one layer if you do this at home. And don't worry if it looks a little streaky or clumpy. What you're going to do after is you're going to use a layer of clear acrylic on top, and it's going to smooth everything over. If you do this on shoes with a lot of molded details, you most likely will lose those molded details whenever you are painting it. But if you have regular basic shoes, it'll just turn out looking like a patent leather.
Oh, that's nice.
So something I will do after I do a reroot is boil wash, and as you can see, like, this hair is very bouncy. It's not sitting down flat. I didn't add any glue on the inside of the head because it doesn't need it. See, look, it's not coming out. Again, you don't need glue. And I know it like causes a controversy like on Facebook groups and in my comments, and everyone's like, oh, you definitely need glue, you need glue. You really don't. And honestly, if you try it my way and you do every single step the right way that I show you how to do it, you should be successful. There should be no reason why you have issue with that. Now, if glue works for you and you want to continue to use glue, go ahead and use glue. But me personally, I don't use glue, and I really, don't need to defend my choice not to use glue because all of my restorations have worked. all of my reroots have worked. So I really don't understand your argument, but I do understand your experience. And again, if you do it exactly the way I show you to, I don't see how you could have really any problems.
I'm so glad we had that talk.
So here we have the doll. I'm not going to put glue in it, just like I, went on a shtick for. But what I am going to do is I'm going to boil wash this lower part because it does need to sit down flat. There we go. It's like all the change that just happened there, you see? We're no longer overpowered with bounce and fluff. I'm going to give this doll a perm inner bangs and a perm inner side ponytail because that's something like kind of 80s that Barbie was like up to and doing, even like towards the end of it. And I just think that would be really fun and cool. So that's why I've left all of these longer, and then in the back I left it a little bit shorter. I can't decide if I want to go and make this wavy or if I want to leave it straight like it is in the second version. I'll probably leave it a little bit wavy, but it won't have like tight curls. At least that's like what I'm going for, like it won't have that. But yeah, I'm super excited. After you do reroot, it's always a good idea to give it a boil wash so that everything sits down, lays down flat, and everything just looks nice and polished. So we're gonna get on to doing her hair. Now, I want this top portion to have these big poodle poofed bangs that have a really noticeable big perm. And the way that I'm going to get that is I'm going to use perm papers, like so. Place it down. Go all the way to the end, like so. And honestly, you can curl in any direction. You're just going to use a pipe cleaner for this one. There we go. There we are. Now, when the final product is done, most of this hair that I left up here is going to be cut off, so don't worry about it. There you go. There's one. Go for another one. By the way, if you're wondering, the cat right next to me, her name is Sassy Lashes. She's almost 18 years old. I got her when I was a child. Let's see here. She's the happiest of kitties. She's always purring. Okay, there we have another one. I believe one more ought to do it. Okay, there we go. All right, and hopefully those little poodle bangs will come out looking nice. I'm going to do the same thing to her side ponytail, and after I do a boil wash and it dries a bit, we're going to see what it looks like. Now we are ready for the boil wash. And she already looks like a punk rocker. I mean, check her out, right? Yeah. So after I do a nice little boil wash, just go ahead and do. There we go. Now again, having an electric kettle really does make a difference. I used to run up and down the stairs with water that I put in a microwave. Let me tell ya. It never got the boil washes as nice as I wanted them as what it does with an electric kettle. So you do want to be careful and make sure it does not touch your fingers. Now, what I do to keep all of my styles in place, I have diluted gel, which I made with water in 1 squirt of Got to Be Glued. And now I'm going to saturate all of the curls. We're just going to get this all over her curls. And this is how I get all of my styles to hold and be good for quite some time. Let this air dry, and when it does, we'll put it on the doll, and then boom, we'll do her hair. So her head is basically done. I'm going to do like a couple finishing touches. Like I'm going to touch up some paint. Not that it came off, but I want to add some more shimmer to her and maybe apply just a little bit more pink rouge and not so much red rouge, and maybe add a highlighter. And then whenever her hair is dried, I'll fluff it out and give it a trim and do what I need to do for that. But for her outfit, for the most part, so we've got her earrings done right here. They're looking pretty precious. I've got like the things I want to put in her hair right there. And then we've got the doll herself. So of course we got her tights. Her shoes came out pretty nice. As you can see, they are of that like rubbery material that Mattel's been using. So like they don't really stand that proper, you know, because there's a lot of weight. This doll is very weighted. I've got an ankle bracelet on, which kind of looks like a, you know, house arrest, but that's okay. Because it's a fabulous house arrest ankle bracelet. And then we move on up to the costume itself, mixed with all of the fabu garb that I've put on top of it. And this outfit does transform into a different look. So I'll do that like for the grand reveal, but I'm so happy to like have it primarily done, and you can see like it's pretty reflective in the lights. So this microphone is actually from Barbie and the Rockers. This is Ken's microphone. You can tell because it fits a larger hand. We can go over here to the Barbie one. So just in case like you ever thought that you might have a Barbie one and she can't hold it very well, it could be Ken's or vice versa. But yeah, give her like a manicure. And this rubber bracelet right here, this is actually from the 50th anniversary reproduction. You can kind of tell them apart from an OG because they are a little bit skinnier and not as like big and pronounced. But I don't have a 50th reproduction anymore. I got rid of them because like their pleather parts were peeling even worse than OG, and I bought them originally like maybe like in 2012 or sometime, and I bought them originally like to use for parts for my OGs because I didn't want like the peeling and flaking paint everywhere. And they finally caught up with time and they started peeling, but a lot worse than the OG. And then the OG parts, because I hadn't really used them, were in better shape than the 50th anniversary. So I sold them off quite some time ago, but I ended up keeping this for some stupid reason. But now I know why. It can go on this doll. And we have like a nice little tennis bracelet with the star. And I put like, I don't know if you can tell, but I put like little rhinestones everywhere, little stars everywhere. So she is definitely a superstar. Again, this is looking very similar to my Superstar Barbie, but this is the look I was going for. And I think I did a pretty good job. I would have given her silver tights. I wanted to give her these 80s like nylon net with like the little circles on them, the little dots. I just think it looks a lot nicer. And I wanted to incorporate some lace, and I thought I would like down here, but I just like got to town and I was like, oh, this looks so good. And then I tried to put lace under it and I was like, it doesn't really look that great. Doesn't really give it that much. Just looked more like quinceañera than, you know, anything else. But then I was like, why not put it in her bow? Because I want to give like her a little bow, which I don't know if you can see that in the back, but that is the original sketch that I have for this doll, at least the version that I'm going to go with. I think I had like several, but anyway, I'm super excited that this is done. I can't tell you like how much of a stress relief it is that primarily it is almost done. Again, I'm gonna like do a couple finishing touches over here to make her look a little bit more glam and a little bit more like drag queen. But other than that, we are good to go. Now I just have to put in her earrings and she'll be ready to go.
Are you ready? Are you sure? Okay.
And here she is all done. Just kidding. Custom Barbies are not for everyone, and that is the simple matter of the fact. But I like making them because it gives me a chance to try to execute something and keep myself learning, as I've not been trained by any school whatsoever. So like, this is me actually just going in and trying to do my best and discovering new ways of doing things along the way. It's something that I really enjoy, and if you all like it too, let me know down in the comments below. I have a lot of fun with these projects, and I kind of stress out about them because I want to do a really good job. But I'm very proud of this one, and I hope you all like it too. And here she is set up next to my other Barbie Makeover series dolls. The Superstar Barbie I actually did sell, so she's off in her new home. And I'd like to think that this new Rockers doll definitely fits in the collection. But what do you think? Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment down below. Also, let me know if you are interested in making some custom Barbies. I'd love to see your creations. And if you all would like to show me your creations, like send me a picture or a video, you could do that on Instagram. My handle is DisneyBarbieGirl615. just like this channel. I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your day, and thank you all so much for watching. I can't wait to see you all again in the next video. Bye-bye.
The latest, the greatest, new dancing Barbie and the Rockers.
We can!
Dancing stars, the Rockers really move. Dana, Dee Dee, Diva, yeah! Barbie and the Rockers.
The girls really dance!
When Barbie asked me to join the band,
He said,
that's cool.
now I dance with my man. Don't be so separately.
Barbie and the Rockers.
Here's some bonus content for you. I went to Walmart, and I usually feel the strong wind blow me towards the toy aisle for no particular reason.
It's what she would have wanted.
Right? And I saw this Barbie, and I'm usually not a fan of Millie, and I've seen this doll before, but none of them appealed to me. But this one really spoke to me. Like, she actually looks really pretty, I felt. And I said, oh, she's actually pretty. I like her outfit a bit. She kind of is giving me Sabrina Carpenter with the heart cutouts and everything, but she looks super pretty. It looks like they tried. She does have some pixelation, but that's fine.
No.
And if you are curious about this doll is number 230. On the back, they don't have names, they have numbers, and I'm dyslexic. That's just a shame for me. But if you look at the back, there's really nothing interesting about this doll. Like, I included her in the end credits for a gag anyway. But yeah, she, in my opinion, is not really that interesting to warrant her own video.
I'm a professional woman.
So I believe they want us to open it like this. I've not really opened any new dolls. Oh shit, hello. I guess you pull her out like this, maybe. There we go. And what do you know? There we have Millie. And she does have little plastic tabs on the back of her head. That sucks. Sucks royally. Let's see, I'm gonna have to cut those off. Oh no, they came off good. We'll cut these off. And then we'll cut her feet out. And that should be it. That's some extreme packaging for this doll. But here she is out of the box. First impressions, her face is really pretty. Her head's really large, but something I hate. Why in the hell are these wobbly? I've held better used dolls from Goodwill that have better legs. Look at this. Are they serious? They're very hollow. She weighs nothing. Let me tell you, she really weighs nothing. If she was worried about her weight, she should never be, because she doesn't weigh a thing at all. The dress is pretty nice. See on the back, it's got a really thin strip of Velcro, but at least it has that. She's not sewn in. It's that metallic lame material that will fade and look awful over time, but might even tarnish. But you never know. It's still pretty for now, so enjoy it while you have it. I don't like her jewelry. I wish it were like clear with like glitter or something in there, or, you know, like hot pink or metallic colored, not just like white. It looks like a smartwatch. And I'm like, really? With this whole outfit, you want to have something that looks like a smartwatch? Although it's not. I think it's supposed to be like some jeweled bangle. Don't know if you can really see that or not. But just the shape that it is, it just looks like one of those little smartwatches. But yeah, she's really cute. She doesn't really have that much articulation whatsoever. Just standard joints. Ooh, I hate seeing like that clear translucent plastic in there. That just screams cheap to me. And then we go down. She's got this. There we go. She's on the standard regular body, or regular height body, I should say. Here are her shoes. I've never had these shoes before. Very interesting. Very hookerish. I love it. I support this message. It's giving like 2013. But yeah, her hair is saran. It's pretty thickly rooted too. Looks really nice, actually. Overall, like, she's just a really pretty doll. I like her little tan she's got going on. I like her face. There's really not that much to say about her. She's just one really pretty Barbie.
And that's the end of that chapter.